the possible explanation though about sheep, the queera, but I think that's just a kind of transliteration or whatever you call it.
This is the mall.
Yeah.
Finish stew, black ale. And it's a navigation point out there, I suppose, for ships coming in and out.
Yes, yes.
Goose Island. King's Island. Now there's a boathouse down there, and we're in a collie point.
Yeah.
I suppose there will be currents there. Site of Ballysokeary Castle and graveyard and mill and a lot of things down there.
Yes, and old church too,
and
yes.
the old church, yes.
And a fort near at hand also.
Yeah. And the river that gives it its name too is down there, the waterfall.
That's right.
There's the site of another fort, a very high one. There are the little rivers. There are three of them going into one there and going into the sea at Ballysokeary.
Yes.
That's Hardon, I think.
Hardon, that's right, yeah.
And this is Knockrow, or the Red Hill. You couldn't find any traces of that in it.
No, well, there's a ridge there, all right.
Mount Reddit.
There's a modern name for you.
Yeah. There's another river that runs out of the townland. Fairly small townland, an important townland, important enough to give its name to the parish.
Yes, and two roads right through it too.
Yeah. The last seat, I suppose, of the ballot.
In this area.
This is it with the tide in.
Yeah.
The mall. The site of the castle here.
The mound on which it was built.
Yeah. About 50 feet up, I think.
Yes, we're right down on the riverbank now.
Yeah.
Yes. And we forgot the boat.
Ballysokeary, coming from Ballysokeary, the town of the Narrow Cataract. This is according to O'Donovan of 1838. It contained over 190 acres of water. In 1856 it contained over 436 acres of land. Today it is a little short of 436 acres of land. In 1838 it was a vicarage in the diocese of Carroll. The tithes amounted to £368. The nearest market town was Ballina. The land had many tracts of bog. In 1856, according to the Griffith evaluations, the immediate lesser was the Earl of Arran. The Reverend J. Verscoyle had almost 14 acres of glebe lands here and a graveyard. That would be up in that direction there. The townland occupiers were Thomas Hennick, Michael Hennick, Hugh Hennick, John Ryan, Charles Gardner, he had a caretaker's house somewhere, Patrick Trowan, and there was a Chisholm, John McAndrew, Henry Robinson, John Barrett, Bridget Carden, Michael Mullarkey. In 1641 this parish was called Ballysokeary. The townland was called Ballysokeary too. William and Pierce Barrett, Irish Papists, were the proprietors. It was disposed to Sir Arthur Gore. This was around 1641. Now this was the old
Ballysokeary Old Church, in the Protestant graveyard. It's an old church, I think, with an addition earlier on. That, I guess, would be part of the original church at that end. And then at the time the addition was put on, in there, in that gable, you can see the remains of a doorway which has been built up. Here where I'm standing now, you can see the width of the wall. It would be over 2 feet wide. And it would have been a long, narrow, dark church. Well, around the year 1000 or 1100, there were a number of churches, and that was the style of them. They were long and narrow. And my guess is that around that stage or before that, there was an addition put on to this. We're about 2/3 way in it. There's another third now behind us at this side. and it's narrow in proportion to its length.
Yeah. You think it was a thatched building, do you?
Yeah, most of them were would have been at that time.
Yeah.
The name, of course, is older. You talk about a vicarage. That really would have to do with the endowment. That vicarage goes away back to, I think, the first mention of it would be in 1304. Now, the church endowment is also mentioned in 1198. Only, it first of all is called As Cuile. In 1198 list, it's given as Donan As, which really would be the waterfall is the kind of essential part of the name.
Yeah.
And then the Ballia would have been added on later on to the As Cuile.
Yeah. That would be before the barracks built over there, wouldn't it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, then there was a Catholic church here, wasn't there?
Oh, well, this, as I said, all of this, both the original part and this would have been a Catholic church, and it was only at the time of the so-called Reformation that this would have been taken over.
1670 or after, around that time.
Well, say 1570 to 1580 would have been mostly the suppression.
Would they have operated before Cromwell's time?
They might. Again, you could have a grant on paper.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have really been effective until after that.
Yeah. Wouldn't this church here have given the parish its name?
Yeah. Yes. All of this area, yes.
Yeah. And this graveyard here would probably be the churchyard, would it?
It would. Well, it's not used much by Catholics now, but it was a Catholic burial to begin with.
It was,
and it's in a funny position in a way that in the parish now, this is on one end, and Rosser could be at the opposite end.
Yeah.
And all of that, I'd say, in time, the original people who were living here were moved by Sir Arthur Gore, and they were pushed inland a bit. Yeah. And all along here, then you had a colony of Presbyterian weavers, whose descendants, a lot of them are still here.
Yeah.
And their church now is at Monafarry.
Yeah.
They had a place down here, I don't know the exact location now, first in 1690, and it was called Moy Water. And at that stage, they were part of the Sligo Presbytery. And by 1695, then they became an independent presbytery.
Yeah. The ancient doorway.
Yeah.
That's the door from which the people who went in came in and went out.
Well, yes, I think so.
Yeah. The shape of the old doorway, isn't it?
Yes. At the corner of the building is destroyed. It was probably taken away again for maybe cornerstones for a house.
Yeah.
So the wall would run out. The run of the wall would be about there, just beyond the attach.
Yeah. That would be the old Catholic church, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That one and the addition to it.
Both. Yeah. Well, up here we have the narrow waterfall.
Yes, and even after a long dry spell now, you can still hear it.
The noise of the waterfall. Yeah.
Doesn't look like much of a cataract now, but in winter time, or say in flood water, you would imagine that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it louder than this, and most rivers today are dry. I've seen 2 or 3 rivers dry already today.
Yes. And there is a fairly good drop in the land. I think that's where the...
Yeah. Well, this gave its name to the townland and eventually to the parish because the Catholic church was here, up the road here. Small little waterfall. The narrow cataract.
Yes.
Ballysokeary, looking out of the moor, is the site of the Ballysokeary Castle.
Yes.
That's looking up.
That's right. And looking up the river now towards Ballina.
It was in a commanding position too, I think, too, wasn't it, on the heights?
Oh yes. Oh, they picked their place as well.
On the ruins of Ballysokeary Castle. The first powerful family we hear of in this castle were the Barretts. They were Welshmen, came in with the Normans, and they took hold somewhere in Erris, and they were in the Battle of Moyne 1281. William Moore Barrett. His descendants, like Wattons, I think, were here. 1585, Richard Barrett was called MacWhatton or Chief. Pierce Barrett was in Ballysokeary Castle. The Ordnance Survey letter states that tradition has it that it belonged to the Burkes after. It may be after the Lynott-Barrett feud, when the Burkes killed Tibbot the Bald, I think, and had to pay an eric of 5,000 acres of land that they acquired it. The Barretts lost Ballyk that time, so H.T. Knox writes, and maybe the Barretts lost Ballysokeary Castle at the time, but down here somewhere it was.
I'm standing now on what we think is a wall of the castle, and outside there could have been the outside wall surrounding the whole lot. On that rise beyond us now there's a kind of an oblong, and the remains of the walls can still be seen there.
Yeah.
Could have been, as I say, this is maybe a wild guess, but it could have been the courtyard for the castle.
Yeah.
And over there would have been another wall. You can see it going into the briars there at the back. And over on the point away from us is what looks like the remains of another wall.
Yeah.
Now, to get back to the Barretts, they were here for a long time. Now, this would have been an inhabited site before the Barretts came, and more than likely this would have been O'Dowda territory. This would have been a dune or a fortification before the Barretts came. They built a stone castle on it then. Watton Barrett was fined for his part in the Battle of Kilroe in 1281. He had to pay £163, 13 and 8 pence, which was a big sum of money at that time. In 1335, Robert MacWhatton Barrett was the Lord of Ballysokeary, and he may have lived on until 1635. Now, in 1575, there was a MacWhatton Barrett who went to Galway to kind of make his submission to the crown, and he got his fare home along with some of the other Tyrolli chieftains because of their poverty, as it was said. Now, in 1585, Pierce Barrett was the name of the man who was here, and he is assented to the composition of Mayor at Doonamona Castle under Sir John Perrott. And Pierce Barrett was still here in 1607, and there's a list of his lands being granted to him at the time. Now, how long the Barretts survived? I think in 1641 he was listed as one of the landholders, but by that time the chieftaincy would have died out, and they would have been under English domination and under English rule at the time. Yeah. When the last of the Barretts died, I don't know. They lasted longer here and in Ballysokeary, I think, than in any other part.
Yeah. Were they Welshmen that came in first, you know?
Well, yes. They came first of all to the south of Ireland, and they would have been in County Cork. Yeah. And then they made their way up here. And they would have been well established here before the Battle of Kilroe in 1281.
Yeah.
Now, to get the names of the islands, this little bunty one here beside us, according to the map, is King's Island.
Yes.
To the left of that then is Ordilawn.
Well, that looks high anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Now, in the gap, there's another little one there, and it's called Bird Island.
Yeah.
The one to the right of it then, it's Freachilawn. That's 4 acres, 3 roads and 32 perches.
Freach.
Freach, yeah. Now, bilberries.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no bilberries now.
Yeah. I was thinking of heather.
Green grazing. And away to our right here is Goose Island. And that's given us 10 acres, 1 rood and 9 perches. That
probably gets its name from all the wild geese that are around here.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. And away in the distance then you can see Ennisgrove and the sandbanks at the Valley of Diamonds, isn't it? They call that a part across there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the golf course in our fair, yeah. Well, there are a lot of wild geese around this island, around Bartra, so I suppose this island here got its name from it.
Yes, more than likely it was probably one of their nesting places.
This was the view from the old castle of the Barretts.
Yes.
Earlier on.
Yes. and nothing could come by land or sea without them noticing it. Anyway, I'd say.
I think they do more. They did more than notice them too along the line, didn't they?
You can be sure of that.
Yeah.
Be sure of that. Yeah. We want to put it on record now. The old channel of the Moy would have been this side of all of those islands.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, is how the Bartra in the 1198 list is called Bartra of Killaga, implying that there was another Bartra over on the other side.
Yeah.
And the Moy channel would be here. It bears left from that point there and goes in at Moyne Abbey.
Yeah. Well, there was a tradition too that the trading ships came down this way for a long time, didn't they?
Oh, they did.
And down to the pool outside Moyne Abbey. Would that be right?
Yeah. Well, that would be in from the sea, and I mean this way now, from right to left would be the Moy's outlet.
Yeah.
But yes, they would have come in from the sea.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have travelled up as far as Ballina at all in the early days, at the time they were coming to Moyne.
Well, would you think they travelled at one time or another by between this and the islands out there, using this inward channel?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Now, if you take Parsons Greer's Windings of the Moy, he says that the other channel was a very late date, but I think he's mistaken in that, because at least from 1800 to 1801 there was a Ballina merchant called Malley, originally O'Malley, I think, and he imported tobacco from that time on.
Yeah.
And his sailing ships used to go up the present channel.
Yeah.
So by that time, I think this one had silted up.
Yeah. I think there was a rumour about Ballina using a dredger or something here at one time or another, was there?
Yes. But there again, that would have dated about 100, 150 years ago.
Yeah.
But I would think that the channel was there for long, long before that.
Yeah.
And they said that it was just a marsh at that. I could hardly credit that. That it was just a marsh, because it's deep water now.
It is,
And that sandbank over on the far side, that didn't form in 150 years. I'd say that's there for much longer than that.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't think that the dredger employed by the Ballina merchants up there would have changed the course of the river and taken the trade away from Moyne or whatever.
Not to that extent. It's true now that they did employ a dredger on 3 occasions that I know of.
Yeah.
But all of those would have been after 1801.
Ah, yeah. Most of Killala trade had gone that time anyhow, hadn't it?
It had.
And Moyne. The monastery would be gone too, wouldn't it?
That's right.
And
the harbour would have silted up a good deal all over.
Yeah. And there'd be no point in them coming in at Moyne anyway that time, so they wouldn't.
No, well, Sir Arthur Gore had a notion at one time of building a railway and restarting the thing. He thought there was a few bob to be made on it, but the Ballina merchants kind of shot him down.
Ah, yeah.
They didn't want it.
Yeah. This is a fort.
Yes, that's the view woodward from the castle site now.
Yeah.
And to get to that, then you have to...
this is a close-up now.
Yeah.
Very high, isn't it?
Yeah. We're up now past the old church and into that field. That's situated in the Glebelands there.
That was a high mound there, isn't it?
Yes. And those terraces, I think, were made by grazing cattle or sheep.
Yeah, see the height of it there now.
Yes. 50 at least.
And a mound and a trench all around it there. 50 feet over sea level, I think this is. A settlement, an early settlement, or would it be a lookout point? Probably a settlement.
A settlement, yeah. Farmer's dwelling, I suppose.
Yeah, ancient settlement.
Yeah. Built on the top of a natural hill. Now, you can see that it follows the shape of the hill. It's a kind of an oblong, more than a circle. And it's about 50 feet above sea level, roughly. And there's a deep fosse or trench round about it. And away on the next little rise, there's the remains of a circle of stones, which could be another smaller fort.
Yeah.
We're not sure of that. This one has stones in the gly or the fence surrounding it there.
Yeah.
And there are too many of them to be just stones who were moved off the land, I think.
Yeah. this is looking at it at the site of the Ballysokeary Castle. And the Glebe is over here.
Yes. And they must have been the original, part of the original vicarage endowment.
Yeah. And far over we see the glacial deposits.
Yes.
There again. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking across to Bartran and Escrone. No, yes, that's the entrance to the Glebelands now.
The site of the old Catholic church at one time. And here's where the mill was, probably a corn mill.
More than likely, because there's a stream to the left of that too.
Machinery all gone. They'd have big grinding stones there too, or mill stones.
Yes. There's fine building material there too, right beside them.
Yeah. Well, the stones probably from the Ballysokeary Castle went into the building.
Well, even where the stream, on each side, the banks of the stream.
Yeah. This is an old house here, I think, with some history attached to it.
That's right. To say the last, Mrs. Ryan here tells us that the last occupant was a man called Lavelle.
Yeah.
And previous to that there were Boyds.
Yeah.
No, anymore I don't know dates for those. She said that the Lavelle man is dead for, she doesn't know how long.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that the Boyds had a tradition of priests being lodged with them.
Yeah, yes.
Now, whether it was priests operating in the Catholic Church, well, it would be Catholic priests anyway, or maybe curates. I don't know if there were curates here at any time.
Not that I know, not for any length of time anyway.
Yeah.
No, I would be surprised. I had the idea that Father Timlin anyway lived away up in Coneil itself, or in that locality. Where the Gallagher's.
Oh yeah, I know where that
Timlin's.
is. Yeah.
And you can see an old horse-drawn hay turner, and next to that in ruins also is a reaper and binder. Museum pieces now, but they're a bit far gone.
Yeah. We're having fun here now, I think. Now, left of this drain down here is Ballysokeary, townland. And right of the road.
Yes. That's facing back towards Killala now, isn't it?
Yeah. And the right hand side of the road there is Ballysokeary.
Yes. And that's where that bulk tanker is the turn from Bayview Cottage, I think, that road down.
Yeah, and Knock Row is down there too, and the shore.
Yes.
Now we're looking for some identification of the quarry here, or right sandstone, and
couldn't find anything for the Knock Row.
we couldn't find anything. Now we're down here at the river, and there's Inish Stew.
That's right.
Yeah, and out that big island out there now.
They call it Inish Stew. It's down here as 8 acres, 2 roads and 6 perches.
Yeah. The Black Island.
That's probably it, all right.
Yeah.
The little one then above that that we can see there is called Inish Porton.
Yeah, well that's in Rusheens, isn't it?
Or Derrines, I'm not sure which.
Yeah. And that's a shot of mine Abbey in the far distance up there.
Rosserk Abbey, you mean?
Rosserk Abbey, yeah, Rosserk. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
The road now would be the boundary there. We're actually standing in another townland now, and from the map I think it's Derrines, but I'm not sure.
Well, the other boundary would be this fence going up here, right at this house, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Or up the lower ground.
Yeah.
Maybe the edge of the bank.
Well, it looks like this is it here.
Yes, according to the map anyway.
Yeah. Going way up. At and over right here is Ballysokeary. Somewhere where the sun is shining would be not grow.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we're moving from the shore up again. I think that's Mount Ready there, is it?
Yes, the modern name for it, whatever the original name was. And Townland boundary then would be, I think, into the left of that, on the slope to the left of that.
Going down towards the shore.
Whoever gave it that name.
Down there is Knock Rose, and I think in there, wherever that house is situated.
Yeah. Well, there's a line of winds on it, and there's a kind of a sandbank there. More glacial deposits.
Probably give it a red colour at some time of the year.
Then a nice house there in the.
Yeah, I think that's Carroll's. Greenland and Reserve. And here's Rahardon, the fourth of the Little Heights.
Yeah, that's on the opposite side now to the other one.
Settlements all around here, thousands of years ago.
It looks like a big farmer's dwelling too.
Yeah.
Like they say in the films now, we were heading into the Golden West that time.
And there's a cock pheasant belonging to Ballysokeary on the road.
Not one bit afraid. That's facing the Killala direction now again.
Everything right of this road now is in Ballysokeary.
Yeah. And that's the way down now to the graveyard and the old church. And on the left there was what used to be a forge. It's in Utah White though.
Yeah. Good land in this townland.
Yes, it is. Heading up for the boundary now with Rusheens. Somewhere about the top of that hill, I think, wasn't it? The Rusheens boundary.
It is, right on the hill. There's a wall that goes down there for the shore.
Yeah. Very nice view of the river too, and right across from there. You can't see it on this shot.
And that's it there, right at that stone wall.
Yeah.
All the way down to the seashore there, or the river. Ballysokeary.
And that's the scenery I was talking about all the way along up the Moy. Heading in now towards Moy.
Yeah.
I have some information here now about Ballysokeary from the annals and the calendars of papal letters. That would be the 14th and 15th centuries. And the value of the vicarage at that time, the endowment at that time, would be 7 marks is the one usually, sometimes 6. That now would be about double the value of most of the ordinary vicarages. And in November of 1398, there's a letter that has to, it gives us a certain amount of background information. From it you can gather that there was a salmon fishery, because the Bishop of Killala was entitled to tithes from the salmon fishery somewhere in Ballysokeary. And the bishop in question at that time had gone to the Diocese of Dromore, and there was Alan O'Hannicky, or I suppose it would be Hannick now, was the dean at the time, and he gave the shares of his revenue that should be coming to the bishop to this man before he left. And the decree that we're talking about confirms this for the lifetime of Alan. He kept, though, the bishop kept for the diocese or for his successor the tithes on salmon, but he gave him his portion of the revenues. Now, to explain that about the revenues of this endowment, we saw vicarage lands. Now that would have been part of it. That would have been divided. Half would go to the rector. The other half then would be divided, a quarter to the bishop and a quarter to the vicar. Well, in the beginning, the rector would have been a priest, but down through the years then, rectors were oftentimes absentees, and there might have been younger sons of landlords or chieftains, and the vicar was the priest who said mass and gave the sacraments to the people. So sometimes now it's a little bit misleading in some of the Protestant churches. You get a list of rectors, and when you get far enough back, that can be very misleading, because the rectors in some cases were laymen, or there would be people in minor orders. They wouldn't have been ordained priests. Now, in some cases, rectories were given to students to pay for their education, and if they didn't become ordained within a year or two, the thing became automatically forfeit. And there was a certain amount of jockeying for this. If somebody had had the use of a rectory, maybe somebody else who wanted it or wanted the revenues would write off to these papal offices to try and get hold of it. And that's where most of the information came. Now, as well as that, some of the ecclesiastical lawyers, they had a list or a catalogue of crimes. And just as they do in court cases now, if you haven't a very good case, you bring in as many breaches of the law as you can, hoping that he'll get hung on at least one of them. And the things that these people are reported as being guilty of, again, can be misleading in that way. What happened was that from the papal offices, a commission was sent back to certain canons in the diocese. They were to investigate the case, and if the man was found guilty, well then the man in occupation was supposed to be deprived. But in a whole lot of cases you find that he continued on in possession, which would imply that he wasn't guilty of anything, and this was just a ploy to try and get hold of his revenues. That's a little bit of disedifying information now from the Middle Ages, but it's in a way, you see, the people who keep the law will never make history. It's the blackguards sometimes who get their names in the papers. And you can learn a lot from court cases sometimes. That applies even in the church. So.
The chancellor.
Right.
The chancellor. Down there now at the graveyard, and we were looking for the parson's house, and we couldn't tell. There was nobody there that was able to tell us where it was situated.
Yes, well, it's the old house, you know, the old ruins by the graveyard gate.
We do indeed.
You know, there.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, the stones there.
Yes. Right enough, we noticed a built-up window and doorway.
Yes,
you know.
yes. Well, that old house, of like the last residents there were the Boyd family, and they were evicted at the time of the evictions here in Ireland. I don't know now, would that be, when would that be?
Oh, it could be any time around the penal days or before that.
The Nealans of Lacken and a few other families were evicted as well at the same, you know.
Yeah. Well, did you know the name of any person, you know, the vicar who used to live there, the rector who used to live there? You never.
Well, I never heard the name really. I'd say now it was a Father Burke. Did you ever hear of a...
Oh, but he could be there without me. No,
yes, a Father Burke now.
Yeah, well, which house now? Are we mixing up you mean now the house above by the...
No, she means the ruins by the graveyard.
The ruins by the graveyard. The old, it's like a shed.
Yeah.
You know, the old stones there.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was a Protestant rector you were talking about. Oh, no.
No.
Yes, I see.
You see, that was a Catholic church in the olden
Right,
days.
right.
The old ruins is in the graveyard, the Catholic church.
And Father Burke, you think, would have said mass
yes,
there?
I think I used to hear my mother talk about that, you know, in the olden time.
Well.
Yes.
No, there was another house up there. It was Boyd's first, wasn't it? Your house, in other words, wasn't
yes,
it?
that was Boyd's, yes.
Yeah. I had some, well, people told me I had it at one stage or another. Father McHale couldn't find it, but that the priest used to lodge in that house at one time, was
Yes,
that
they're used, yes.
right?
There was a Father Barrett.
Down there.
Yes, he was a connection now. He'd be a relation of the Burkes in Palmerstown. You know Miss Burke, she was down, Paddy Burke's, you know.
I know her indeed.
Yes,
Anne
well,
Burke,
he was a relation of theirs, I think.
yeah.
Yes, a Father Barrett.
And they were talking about another father
And a
there.
Father Ruddy. Did you ever hear of a Father Ruddy?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
He was from the Kilfine, or I don't know,
Malgowna, yes.
over that way, yes.
Yes.
He was a relation of the Burke family, or the Barrett family as well.
I see.
Yes.
Was he lodging with you down there?
He was,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
he was.
yeah.
But sure, now I don't really remember. It's
I know.
my grandparents'
I
time.
had the idea that that this Father Ruddy that I'm thinking about anyway was in the States, and he came home and he lived here, like he kind of retired.
Yes, he was a
And he was
retired
home.
priest. He used to go on horseback back over to Barrett's.
Oh,
Over
I see.
past the old graveyard, you know, on
yeah,
that way and over. There's a cart track on that way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned another Father Brogan there before we forget
Yes,
about
he
him.
was our own cousin, yes. He went to America about 18... Wait, no.
Before or after the famine?
I just can't remember, about
After.
18, yes, after the famine, yes.
Yeah.
And they came from Kilbride, down below Ballycastle.
Oh,
Oh, yes. And was he ordained for this diocese, I wonder? Or like he was a
Well,
priest
no.
before he went anyway?
He was, yes, he was, because the late Canon Heverin, you know, was in Cuneel
I
Parish.
know him. I
remember
well,
he was a child when he returned back, when he come back from America, and I told me at one stage that he had to stand up and sing for him down in school, wherever, you know, down Ballycastle, down there, yeah.
Good.
Yes, he
yeah.
had, and you know, the canon was a real strict, you
He
know,
was,
man,
he was,
but
he was.
he said he was scared that day when Father Brogan asked him to stand up and sing, you know.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, right.
Yes.
But Father Brogan had no house of his own down there along the shore, had he?
No, his brothers, Anthony and John, that lived
yeah,
there,
yeah,
they come
yeah,
back from America, or Anthony did at least.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's still there. Ballycastle, you know, the owner of
Yeah.
Ballycastle.
Well, it's a young fella.
Ballina.
It's a young fella that's in charge
Yeah.
of it now, isn't it?
Well, the son is there,
Yeah.
but it's the old Marshal that owns that old
it?
house now
Yeah.
at the moment.
What do you call him again?
Marshal Doran.
Doran.
Yes. What is, well, that great-grandfather's, I'd say,
Yeah.
or my grandfather's, was a watermill.
Yeah. What did he
Yes.
grind in it? Was it corn?
The corn
Yeah.
ground there,
Oh,
yes. It's a big old entrance, you know, you can see.
I saw it indeed.
And the river runs by, you know,
Yeah,
the waterfall.
What was his name?
Boyd.
You don't remember his first name?
James Boyd.
James Boyd.
Yes.
I suppose
Yes.
that had been the 1800s too, wouldn't it?
Yes, I'd say that, yes.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The burial there, the old king. The castle is there by the shore, the old castle.
It is.
Have you seen that?
We have indeed, yeah.
Yes.
No, we're in the Barrett's Castle, you know, up there
On the hilltop.
height opposite the church. But you said this is out on the island.
The little island, the King's
King's
Island, the first
Island,
island. The bones are still there to be seen, visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at one time, I'd say in the 1890s, a Hinahan family from up, you know, in Derry's up there.
Yeah, I know
They
them.
dug up that place. They were digging for cockles and they just accidentally went onto the island and they had spades with them and dug up and they got hundreds of old coins.
Yeah. Did they?
Yeah, buried on the little island.
Oh.
And they say they were buried with the king of the castle,
Oh,
so I
right.
can't, you know,
Oh, yes.
clarify that any more
Yeah.
than...
He must be a Barrett,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it?
But I don't know who the king's
Oh, he was
name
one of
was
the
now.
Barretts, I'd say, yeah.
The old hill there was supposed to be the castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, free lawn.
Free lawn.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we were wondering, was it bilberries or was it heather? So we said it was probably bilberries because it looks
Yes.
too good to be growing heather.
I know, oh yes. That's the free lawn.
Free lawn island,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, that
It's
is
covered
right.
with briars.
It's covered with
If you
briars.
looked in through them,
Yes,
you'd see
you'd
it.
see the
Oh,
old
yes.
ruins. Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
And who used to have that boathouse then? You know.
My father used to have that.
Oh,
that
had
right,
he?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and that, well, let's see, that map would have been in 1838, you see, and it must have been in full use at that time. You know, the map we were looking at now was
Now,
drawn
yes.
in 1838.
Yes, well,
so-
that'd be everything beyond
Yeah,
there.
It was, honestly.
He wasn't around in them times.
My father he died when I was 5 years old.
But in 1838, he still wasn't in it.
Oh,
he
no,
was-
no,
no.
but his father before
No,
him.
because
My grandfather.
there wasn't in that land at all at the time.
Well,
Why
no.
wouldn't there be?
They
They
only,
were
they
there.
only came there after the famine, I think.
Hmm.
Well, I can't tell you now.
So your father had a boat there anyway, in a boathouse?
He had, yeah, for going to the island and
Yeah.
that, yeah. They used to have the island tilled and crop and
I was,
Purdo, who lived in Mulliferry.
Yeah.
And the people, you know, all these parishes, they were very poor, at the time. And he used to go around.
Now here Mrs. Mangan talks about Canon Purdue. He is no relation, I believe, of the present-day retired Bishop of Cork, who lives across the river in Farmer's house, or where farmers lived. He came, I believe, from Mattymass or somewhere up there. He lived in Mulliferry and was good to the parishioners.
You know, that lived in Mulliferry at one time.
Good.
Yes. He was a very generous canon, I believe. Yeah.
You were talking there about Todd Ryan. He had a garden there.
Yes, he used to till a garden just opposite the graveyard, the ruins, the graveyard that's there at the moment, and
the mill.
he
Between
often
that and the
showed me
mill,
bones.
Yeah.
And they looked to be human bones, you know.
Yeah. He'd find them when he was digging.
Yeah, when he was digging, yes.
So that the graveyard went extended across that way, across the
Yes,
path
that's
and
right,
all.
across the path, yes.
Would that be
Probably
towards?
that was the graveyard of, the old.
Yeah. Would that be
And the
towards
church was,
towards the mill?
yes, towards the mill,
Yeah,
just right over the
I
mill.
know, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because the old Killala graveyard too went out under the road.
It did, yes, to say they dug up
Right
a lot of
across,
bones.
across
Yes,
the,
right
the
across.
doctor's side now.
Yes.
But there was no road supposed to be there at all at one time.
There wouldn't have been, wherever the road went.
Over there at Ballysokeary used to keep horses one time, didn't they?
Yes, that's right, yes.
What was his name?
Pat Boyd,
Pat Boyd.
yes.
Was he your father or your grandfather?
My father.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandfather as well.
Oh, they were at it for generations.
For
weren't they?
generations, yes.
Any good horse come up?
Yes, well, there was one in particular,
Yeah.
and Lady Gore that lived in Killala
Yeah.
was very interested
Yeah.
in this particular horse. So she come over to Ballysokeary and on her coach one afternoon, and my father decided anyhow, whatever she offered him, that he wasn't going to sell the horse. But at that time there was fairs in Ballysokeary, or not Ballysokeary, but
There was, yeah.
they used to ride they used to take the horses from here.
Right, the whole country.
Yes, they used to go out the Windy Gap or away on that way.
Yes.
And, but anyhow, he was going to the fair in Ballysokeary, and seemingly she liked the horse that much. She followed him the whole way
The
out
horse, yeah.
and bought the horse over at the Windy Gap away out near Tubbercurry or somewhere out there. Yeah, it's not Ballysokeary now. It's let's see now. It's the fair of Boyle. Yes, probably Boyle. Yes, I think that's where the farmers used to take their horses at the time if they had a good one.
So thoroughbreds, your people used to keep, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose, yes,
Right,
fairly.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know how good they were, how bad, I suppose they were.
Ah, well, race horses, they'd be thoroughbreds,
Yeah.
wouldn't they?
Most
Thoroughbreds.
farmers would always have a racer for going to the hunt, I
Would
think,
they?
in
Oh,
that
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yes, all the local farmers used to hunt the
Well,
horses.
you must have had a lot of land over there too at that time, had you?
Well, we had really, but
Yeah.
my grandfather, you see, he divided the place in two.
Ah, yeah.
Two
King's Island there.
Yes. Ah, yes. And it is now, you can see the artificial shape on it there, all right.
There's supposed to be a king buried there. It's supposed to be one of the barracks.
King's Island. We had a shot of that from the other side, from the shore. Since that, we've been talking to Mrs. Mangan of Rusheens, and her people own this. And she says that there were people here digging for cockles, and they had a spade with them, and they went in and they uncovered human remains, including a skull, which she herself saw. She was warned by her mother not to touch it because it wasn't lucky. She told us also that after that, at some stage, there were coins found. Now, what happened to them, we don't know.
Yeah.
King's Island, she claims, because there was a king buried here. Well, a king, well, it depends on what you call a king. He would have been a local chieftain.
Yeah.
How long ago is difficult to say. this part of the island where we're standing on now has been eroded, I'd say, since that time. The mound is an artificial construction, and we're guessing now, speculating, that the materials, the makings for that, would probably have been taken from here. That would have lowered the level of the shore in any case.
Yeah.
And erosion has levelled it still more. Now, further down, after the mound was constructed, again, we're speculating, there was a line of large stones erected on their edge, and about 3/4.
These are the rocks now that form the circle, I think.
That's right. All about the coins that were buried there. My theory would be that whoever hid them considered that a safe place because it wasn't looking to touch a fort.
Yeah.
And they would have been much later.
They were tracing the line of the stones that may be a ring. You see some big ones there that don't seem to belong.
Yes. We've got to mention also that Mrs. Mangan said that the remains, where the remains were discovered, would have been on the side of the mound facing Killanor, facing out to the north, facing north.
That's the site of the Barrett Castle there.
Yeah, from King's Island.
Yeah.
And that's the fort on the Gleelands.
Yeah.
Now, they're solid limestone gravel, and above it here there's a line of shells, and it varies in height. It goes up here now, and further along it goes up and down again at the corner.
Yeah.
Now, one possibility is that it was taken from further out on the shore to complete the mound, that there was already some of the mound there.
Yeah.
The other one would be that it would have been the remains of, yes, where they had their meals, and the shells were thrown away then afterwards.
And they found the mound.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a technical name for that now, and I can't recall it at the moment.
Yeah. This could be called one of these.
A kitchen midden. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more of the same thing. Lower down, you have the limestones and the gravel,
yeah.
And further along now, right there, it goes almost to ground level. That the mound was an uneven height at first. Oyster shells mixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
There to our left now is Rendercurry Point, and I understand it means that the point of the whirlpool. And it has the appearance of it all right. You can see the way the sand is backed up onto the shore.
Yeah.
If you cross over then on the opposite shore, you can see the ruins of Castleconnor Castle, one of the old O'Dowd strongholds. And a little bit to the right of that then on the horizon is the bell tower of the Enniscrone New Church. And bearing up then around to the opposite side, through an ash tree there, you can see the spire of Killanley Church.
Now, this is the boathouse outside the present-day Sam Carroll's. It may have been used by the vicar or parson that lived here and that owned the Gleelands down at Ballysokeary some 150 years ago. This one here is marked on the present-day Ordnance Survey map. It's down along the shore. The old rectory. We are told tradition has it. boathouse. And here is a well.
It's dried up at the moment after the dry spell. It's disused now, as you can see, and the crows have thrown a lot of sticks down into it, but there is water. There is water still.
There is water in.
And I'm sure if it was clean.
Now this was the roadway around by the shore, and when the tide came into a fair here, they often had to unhitch the horse from the trap and walk down through the fields. This is the southern end. Now, this was a boathouse here.
Yes, that's right.
Belonged to your...
Belonged to my father, Pat Boyd, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And his father before him, I believe, had
Yes,
one here, had he?
Jimmy Boyd, yes, he
Yeah,
had,
yeah.
yes.
So, a rowing boat, I suppose. No engine, no sail.
No engine, no, they had no engine.
And what did he use it for?
For going out to the island to, well, to make hay and that
Oh,
sort of
yes.
thing.
He owns a
Yes,
few of the
sail.
islands.
Yes,
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
a few islands out on.
Which islands do you own
The
here?
one facing where we are now, Horse Island and Freeclawn.
Oh, yeah. Do you own Goose Island out there?
No,
No.
a man named Tom McGinley. It belonged to the Barretts in
Ah,
the
yeah.
older time.
Yeah. So this is where the boathouse was?
Yes, this is where
Yeah.
the boathouse, yeah.
This was your grandfather's house here now, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
James.
James Boyd, yes.
And after him came Pat.
Pat Boyd, yes.
And Pat, he had a thrashing mill or something here, had he?
Yes, he had,
Where
yes.
was it now?
Yes, it's in the old shed.
In
one
there?
of those sheds, yes.
Had he machinery for doing the job?
Yes, he had, yes.
Yeah.
He had an old thrashing mill, you know,
Yeah.
pulled
yeah.
by a horse on the, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, round, yes, it's on the outside, yes.
Yeah. So a shaft went into that thing there,
Yes, and the horse
went around here,
went around, yes.
and he engaged some kind of gears
Yes,
on
and
him.
the oats, the
Well, what
gears
the-
for thrashing was inside in the barn,
Yeah.
in the thrashing barn, and
It was able to crush the oats or whatever.
yes, it was, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was better than a flail. You know, the old people used to use the
Oh,
flail,
yeah,
but this was
that's
a more
right.
modern at the time, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
I think they've gone into liquidation
They
there a few
have.
months ago now.
They have indeed.
Yes. The old. My grandfather, yes,
He
he
divided
divided,
it,
yes. He left 10 acres to John Boyd.
And he lived up
Son,
here.
one son, yes. And he married an Eleanor Carroll from Rusheens.
Yeah.
They had returned from marriage. Oh, yeah.
There was 8 or 9 of them living in this house here, were there?
Yes, 9 a family, yes.
Yeah. And eventually it came to an eviction scene around 1892, did
Yes,
it?
that's right. Yes.
Morgan was down here, was she?
She was, yeah. They set up a platform just outside the gate and she had a speech, herself and her
Yes.
colleagues, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they managed to do much good, did they?
No, not
The
that.
eviction took place.
It did, yes.
Yeah. I often wondered what this house was here. One of the Boyd's houses, wasn't it?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right, yes.
yeah,
It was built
right.
for John Boyd, yes.
In here.
Yes, that one.
I suppose it was part of the graveyard at one time.
Yes, probably, yes. That's
Yeah.
where they used to bury the...
The dead.
Yes, the dead.
This is where the boathouse. Well, not a
Yes.
boathouse, but a temporary house for the
Yes,
those
temporary house.
for
And
those
one
who were
of the
evicted.
children was born under the boat here,
Yeah.
yes.
I think she only died recently.
Yes, Agnes, yes, that's right. Agnes Christina Marina, the christened her.
Yeah. Didn't do her any harm then, did it?
No, she lived to be 96 or 7, something like that, I
Ah,
think,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Died
yeah.
in St. Augustine's, yes,
Did
there
she?
about a month ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I suppose it would be your grandfather that had this here.
Yes, I'd say so now.
Yeah. Corn mill.
Corn mill, yes.
Yeah.
See, probably the river, they had a wheel set up in the river, you know,
Oh,
to
they had, yeah.
drive
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Drive the mill.
Yeah.
You never found the millstones around here, no?
No.
No.
In a portion of fresh butter, and I can't now put a name on the
What was it a cure?
cure.
Oh, yeah.
So-
What was it a cure for?
I think it was something to do with the heart or something like that.
Was it?
Yes, the
Yeah.
old people had that.
What was it called? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
It's years ago since it was collected.
Oh,
They
yeah,
have given up
yeah,
that
yeah,
a long
yeah.
time ago. Hey, there's cheering the sheep, sure, he's only playing twice, so he's not able to do that sort of thing like that.
Yeah. This was the old schoolhouse in here, wasn't it?
Yes, this was the old schoolhouse.
This part of it here at the end.
Yes. That,
You don't know if it was Protestant or Catholic?
oh, I'd say it was Protestant now.
Oh yeah,
yes.
you were telling me about
yes, it was a Protestant.
the Canon. What was his name?
Canon Perdue, yes.
Yeah.
There was a story told that the Canon had to be, I'd say, before 12 o'clock he had to come with the rent on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
Or old John would turn the children out onto the road.
Yeah. Oh, this was the schoolmaster that was in it, wasn't it? John was the schoolmaster, was he?
No, John was the
landlord.
occupier, yeah, the landlord of the school.
Yeah.
I'd say Mr. Moorhead was the schoolmaster at that time.
Yeah.
Or I think it was Moorhead was the name. But anyhow, John, if the rent wasn't paid up before 12 on Monday, John would turn the pupils out. And the Canon Perdue, it might be on Wednesday or Tuesday, or God only knows what day he'd arrive with the rent, when he could collect it, or money was hard got at the time. But anyway, they'd be all reinstated again. So the children were delighted, I'm sure.
But it was Protestant children mostly, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, Todd Ryan and his family, and all the older that would be 70 and 80 now in this area.
Yeah. Educated in here.
Yes. Well, that looks off again when it fell in.
You saw this before?
Yes, I did, with the roof on. Attached roof, yes.
And there was a nickname on the schoolmaster that was here too, wasn't there?
Yes, there was, yes, old Waxy, yes.
What was his other name? Gallagher?
Yes, Waxy Garner.
Oh, Garner?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, he'd be related to the crowd above, was he?
Oh, he was, yes. They owned a lot of land here.
It was all in the one family?
In the one family, yes.
Yeah. Any other teacher that was teaching down here that you can remember?
Mr. Taylor, well, yes, there was, but you'd have to take it down from there.
So there was another teacher you heard of here?
Yes, she was a Bridget...
Carson?
Yes, a Bridget Carson, yes. She married Lord Arne's agent at the time, or his gamekeeper, I'd say, who lived just a few hundred yards from here, in the school. And she was a native of Bohol or Swinford, someplace up there. She was a Catholic teacher there. And
she had run in, I suppose.
Yes, she had a run in with the parish priest. Yes, she had, at the time. And he sacked her, of course.
There was
no unions then, you know, and just what the parish priest said, you had to go. But anyhow, eventually her temper got the best of her, and she joined the...
Oh, she changed her religion?
She did. She became a Protestant.
And she taught here for a while?
And she taught here. Seemingly they were looking for a teacher in this area. And the minister contacted her, or knew of her whereabouts.
Well, there have been two teachers teaching here at one time, two together.
But I can't know. I don't really know that.
You never heard of it?
Yes. But anyhow, she was here for years. She married John Carson after coming, the gamekeeper, and she had a family of 7 or 8, one of which became a teacher in Newton White New School over the road now. I'd say it to be in 19, I can't know the year.
In the 1900s.
Yes, but when the new school opened in Newton White, she was the first teacher, her daughter, Mrs. Carson's daughter, to teach there. Frances Carson. Yes.
Coming from here.
Yes, coming from there.
Now. This is your house here at the back, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Sam Carroll lived here, didn't he?
That's right. He lived here for going on 85 years.
He did,
Boarding here.
Yeah, and his father before him lived here too, didn't he?
That's right.
Was his name Samuel too?
No, his name was, let me think now, Thomas. Thomas Carroll.
Now, this house here is different from all the other houses around, isn't it? Called the rectory, isn't it?
This was supposed to be the rectory. Some years and years back. And the clergyman that lived here, he had his church was down in the Ballysokeary present-day graveyard.
And he owned the glebe lands too, I say, didn't he?
Possibly.
He did, yes. So this is an important house. or a historical house in the area, isn't it? One of the historical houses in the area.
Well, if you put it that way, I
Oh,
suppose.
indeed it is, indeed it is, indeed it is, indeed it is. You can't remember any of the names of the clergymen that lived here?
I can't remember any of the names, no.
Yeah.
I've never heard of names, only just that I know that there was a clergyman living here at one time.
Ah, yeah. Rusheens.